Joel Embiid has generated attention with a quote that he just made a day or two ago. This is about possibly leaving the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to read out the quote first. I just want to win a championship, whatever it takes, Embiid said. I don't know where that's going to be, whether that's in Philly or anywhere else. I just want to have a chance to accomplish. I want to see what it feels like to win that first one, and then you can think about the next one. It's not easy. It takes more than one, two, three guys. You've got to have good people around you. And myself, every single day, I work hard to be at that level so I can make it happen. So there's a few things to digest from this. The first thing I would say is that Embiid is now signaling that if things don't work out very soon when it comes to him winning with the Sixers, he's definitely going to force his way out of there. To me, this seems like a preemptive strike or a message to the Sixers front office that, hey, you got to surround me with the right pieces and I need help right now to win it all. And if you don't do it, if we fail again next year and we don't come even close to accomplishing this goal, I'm going to try to force my way out of here. I think that's what he's signaling to them. That's what I really believe. I have to say this, as much as the Sixers have not been great at constructing a roster, I think you also had to put a lot of the blame on Embiid also. Like this guy is basically the second round version of Kevin Garnett. If you don't remember, Kevin Garnett, for his first 7 or 8 years, I believe, in the league, or it could have been even longer. Garnett was drafted in 95, I believe. Yes, he was drafted in 1995. He didn't get out of the first round until like 2004. So he always had that running joke on him that he could not get out of the first round, and it took him so long to do it. And then when he finally did it, he just had that one brief moment in Minnesota, and the next few years he couldn't do nothing with the Timberwolves and got traded to the Celtics, and you know the deal with that. I think Embiid is in a similar situation. Granted, he's a little bit better off than Kevin Garnett. He's at least able to get to the second round. He's done that several times, but he can never get out of the second round. He's never been able to do it. I felt he's been close a few times, losing to in 7 games to the Raptors a few years ago, losing to the Celtics this year. I thought losing to the Celtics this year was even worse than losing to the Raptors, what happened a few years ago, only because Embiid was in shape, I believe, this year. And he still couldn't pull it off against the Celtics. His team went up 3-2. They won Game 5 on Boston's home court, and I thought it was going to be a wrap. I actually thought the Sixers were going to win the series when that happened. So he didn't come through, I felt, in bringing his team the necessary win to advance. So I think that's all on him, and you can't really blame the Sixers for that debacle that happened this year. So he should own up to not coming through when they needed it. Now when it comes to the Sixers team makeup, you look at who his supporting cast is. I would say it's James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris. Harden, I think, played very well as a second option last year. He was willing to do that and sacrifice his numbers. This year, it doesn't look like he's going to be willing to do that. He's trying to force his way out of the Sixers, so that's creating a lot of problems. Tyrese Maxey is a really good young player. To me, he's kind of like a Tony Parker-like player, but he's just not as good as Tony. I would say he's a level or two below, but he's very quick. He's very fast, but it's hard to say if he'll ever become like an all-star caliber player. There's a chance he could become a fringe all-star if he continues to work hard. Tobias Harris has always been a weird player to me. Like, he can give you 18 or 20, but it's not like he's a legit number 2 or even a number 3 player on a championship team. Probably a number 4 if you think about it. So that's a difficult situation, I feel, that when you look at it, that the Sixers are a team that I feel is like being held up by like gum or just a small band-aid that you look at it and you don't think it could be held up together for that much longer. But I do think Embiid will try to force his way out, even though he's under contract until 2027. I don't think he'll do it this year, but next summer, I wouldn't be surprised if they fail and they don't come close to winning a title, that he tries to force his way out. Another thing you got to factor in, I think, is that he's probably feeling pressure to win a title now, knowing that his contemporaries, Jokic and Giannis, have just won titles recently in the last few years. He's about the same age as them. He came in to the league around the same time as those guys did. So I'm sure that's eating him up alive, that he just doesn't have the hardware that they have now, and he's probably feeling he's falling behind now. If those guys win another title next year, either one of those guys, it just further cements that their legacies as being better than Embiid. So he has to get that ring just to be mentioned it up there with those guys. Just when you look at his legacy, and I'm sure he thinks about it, and he's probably a competitive guy when it comes to those things. So yeah, I definitely believe he thinks about it, but that's just another thing to factor in this whole entire situation.